Today's lesson is going to start us into the angles unit. So this is going to be unit 6 for us this year. So we're going to be talking about different angles, and today's lesson is kind of a basic introduction one, just kind of working on some prior knowledge that you have and adding a little bit of vocab to your skills here. So this is the packet that we're working in. You hopefully picked it up in class. So this is the one that you're going to need. If not, you can just jot down some notes for today. All right, we're going to start on page 2 here with an angles introduction. You'll notice at the top of our lessons, we're going to have vocabulary and relationships to know. So all of these vocabulary words are all words that you should be comfortable with by the time that we are done with our lesson. Linear pair, we're going to touch on a little bit, not necessarily today, but kind of in the following lesson then. So that'll actually happen with tomorrow. So for today, you might have heard of the words acute, obtuse, right, and straight before. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees, and we're going to use a clock to kind of demonstrate this. So if I were to see 3 o'clock, actually, that would be a right angle, and we mark a right angle with that little box there just to show that it actually is 90 degrees. That way, if it doesn't quite look like that, we can know that it is. An acute angle is one less than 90 degrees. So for example, if I were to say it is 1 o'clock, or if I were to say it's 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock or even 10 o'clock, that would be an option. When we talk obtuse, we're talking greater than 90 degrees. So we would have here anything like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock would be obtuse angles. We could even do 7 or 8 if we wanted to as well. A straight angle is exactly 180 degrees, and straight is basically a straight line. So this whole angle, if you were to measure it here, is 180 degrees. So that would be, for example, 6 o'clock. There are a couple ways that we can name angles. You'll notice that a lot of times we'll have an angle and we'll have some letters or we'll have numbers there. So when we name angles, we can actually name it by this point right here, which is called the vertex. The vertex is like the little hinge. So we could call this angle S. We could also name it using the 3 different letters that are there, but we have to go in order. So we could say angle R, S, T. R, S, T would work. And if we went the other way, we could say angle T, S, R as well. The other thing that we can do, since this 3 is in here, the 3 is actually referring to the angle, which is right here, okay, which we could take a protractor and measure it. So we would actually also be able to identify this as angle 3. That doesn't tell us that it's 3 degrees, it just tells us which angle it is, okay? So I am going to have you pause, and you're going to answer a multiple choice question on this one. And the question is actually asking you which one could we not use to name this angle. So we could use angle NML. We could use angle LMN. We could use angle M. We could use angle 4, but the one that we could not use would be angle MNL, okay, because that one does not go in order. Down at the bottom here on this page, you'll notice that we have 2 new vocab words for you, vertical and adjacent. Vertical means that they are going to be opposite angles when you actually have 2 lines that intersect. Intersect means they cross over, so they make some form of an X, be it a tall skinny X, a short fat X, whatever. But they're going to cross over each other, and then when we talk opposite angles, we're talking about angle 2 is opposite angle 4. So we would actually call them vertical. We also have another set of opposite angles here, which would be 1 and 3. The cool thing that happens with opposite angles is that they are actually congruent, which means they are the same measure. So if I were to tell you that angle 2 here is 110 degrees, let's say I got a protractor and measured it, you would also know that angle 4 is 110 degrees, which is kind of the interesting, cool part of things here. They are adjacent if they share a common vertex and a common side, and they don't overlap. So 2 and 3 are adjacent because they both have the same vertex right here. Here's their common side, and they don't overlap each other, so the angles are separate from each other. Another set that we have would be angles 3 and angle 4. They share the common vertex, and there's their common side. You could see angles 1 and 4 because they share a common vertex, and there's their common side. And the final pair is 1 and 2 because they share a common vertex and share a common side, and they're next to each other. That's the idea. So adjacent is next door neighbors. Okay? So when we look at this picture here, which angles are vertical and what relationships do they have? So if we're looking, remember verticals are the ones that are opposite when you have intersecting lines. We do in fact have intersecting lines that are right here, and we have a set of opposite angles. 1 and 3 are opposite each other. Which other set of angles are vertical? The other set of angles that are vertical across from each other, opposite, are angles 2 and angle 4. The next question is, what relationship do they have? If you remember, vertical angles are going to be congruent, so they are congruent. The next question says, what angles are adjacent? Adjacent means we're talking next door to each other. So I'm going to erase my black dots from here. Looking at the picture, they have to share a vertex. Well, the vertex is right here. So all of these angles are actually all sharing the same vertex. We just need to know which ones share sides now. So we could start off with angles 1 and 2. We could then also see that 2 and 3 share a side. And then we also have angle 3 and 4. And what is our last pair of adjacent angles? Our final pair of adjacent angles is right here with angle 1 and 4 because they are next to each other and they also share that side. That's going to be the end of our lesson for today, was just being able to identify those basic angle relationships that we have, and then also to introduce you to vertical and congruent.